Welcome back, fight fans. Today we have got some spicy topics to dive into.
Happy Christmas to everybody.
What's up, guys? Merry Christmas.
Dana White has left Conor McGregor fans hanging, and the MMA world is buzzing with anticipation for what is next. Now, millions of people around the world are expecting the Irishman to lead the UFC in 2024, because UFC 300 could very well be the last time McGregor headlines an event. But Dana, well, he's still been silent on the matter.
Disgusting, despicable, makes me sick.
Now, Conor definitely won't be able to headline UFC 400, as by that time he'd be over 40 years old, making UFC 300 McGregor's last chance. But that is not all, folks. MMA fighters are also sounding off on Dana's statement. And at the end of this video, there is a riddle from none other than Alex Pereira that has left fans scratching their heads. So stick around for all the juicy details.
Holy shit.
But before we start off the video, I want to remind you, please do not forget to like and subscribe to the channel. We are quickly approaching 70,000 subscribers, for which we are sincerely grateful. So thank you for your support. Now, the former UFC middleweight champion and current UFC light heavyweight title holder, Alex Pereira, challenged fans to solve a puzzle, the answer to which will likely be information about his next fight. 30 plus 300 equals 3, the Brazilian wrote on social media. So it is safe to assume that the second factor is the UFC 300 event in which Pereira is likely going to be taking part in. Now, if the first term is the weight in pounds that Pereira plans to gain, then the amount will mean the third UFC title that the Brazilian fighter hopes to add to his collection. So theoretically, Alex Pereira could move up to the heavyweight division and face the division's interim champion, Tom Aspinall. But there may be another solution to this puzzle. In addition, in a recent interview, the Brazilian said that his face-to-face confrontation with Cyril Gane does not mean that he was going to try himself in a third weight category.
Listen to this, right? We're in New York. He was quite frosty when I met him. We went to did the press conference. We sat next to each other. He was literally, I was here, he was there. Got off the press conference, and my dad said, "Oh, like, how was it?" I said, "Do you know that Alex Pereira?" He said, "Yeah." I said, "He thinks he can beat me, you know." And my dad was like, "What do you mean?" I don't know, I can just tell. I literally could feel off him. I felt like he was like sizing me up a little bit. I almost got the feeling from him like I would get from an opponent before I would fight him. Do you know what I mean?
Because
like,
he had it in his mind.
I think so. Yeah. I don't know. I might have been reading the situation completely wrong. But when I saw that headline that he's moving up to heavyweight, he's going to move up to heavyweight, I was like, that does make a bit of sense.
The UFC 300 event now has 3 fights, which were all officially announced by Dana White.
So, February 17th, UFC 298 in Anaheim, number 3 ranked Rob Whittaker versus number 6 Paulo Costa. Also on the card, number 8 ranked Jeff Neal versus the number 10 ranked undefeated Ian Gary. And I know, we said that fight was on UFC 299, but it's not. It's on 298 now. Deal with it. February 24th, in Mexico City, you already know Moreno versus Albazi is on the card. We are adding number 3 ranked Brian Ortega versus number 2 ranked Yair Rodriguez. Moreno and Albazi is the main event, but do not fear. That fight is so bad that Ortega versus Rodriguez is a 5-round co-main event. All right, moving on to March 30th in Atlantic City. The women's flyweight matchup between the number 2 ranked Erin Blanchfield versus the number 3 ranked Manion Ferro. Blanchfield is on a 9-fight win streak. Ferro is on an 11-fight win streak, and neither one of these women has lost a fight in 4 years. That is such a bad-ass matchup. Now, what everybody's been waiting for. No main events or anything like that, but I will tell you April 13th. UFC 300, number 2 ranked Yuri Prohaska versus number 5 ranked Alexander Rakic. Former bantamweight champion Aljamain Sterling moves up to featherweight to face number 7 ranked Calvin Kattar, and the return of Bo Nickel. He hasn't lost a fight in 5. He's got 5 wins, all coming by finish. He's 5-0, and he is taking on Cody Brundage. Brundage's last 4 fights, his last 4 wins, have all come by first-round finish. So, that is the lineup I have for you guys right now. I'll have more coming after the new year. Merry Christmas, and have a happy holiday, everybody.
Now, the first fight that Dana announced was a middleweight bout between the 3rd-ranked Robert Whittaker and the 6th-ranked Paulo Costa at UFC 298, which will be taking place on February 17, 2024. And in response to this special announcement made by Dana, MMA fighters reacted enthusiastically. Megan Anderson said, "Dana really said, here's an early Christmas present, you filthy animals, with all of these fight announcements." Brendan Allen wrote, "I've never pulled out of a fight in my life. I've never missed weight in my life. Paulo, 6'2" in the UFC. Who did he ever really beat anyway? Not a single win over anyone who ain't retired now. Paulo, the new Colby?" Aljamain Sterling wrote, "Fight announcement. Got me excited." Also, millions of MMA fans around the world were expecting the Irishman to headline the UFC main event in 2024. However, there have been no statements made from Dana White on this matter, and because of this, Dana did disappoint many fans, as we are sure that the UFC should be inviting McGregor to headline UFC 300. Because again, UFC 300 could very well be the last time that McGregor gets to headline an event, especially of that caliber. He certainly won't be able to headline UFC 400. He's going to be well over 40 years old by that point, meaning he's going to be in a serious career slump if he is even still an active fighter by then, which I highly doubt. So therefore, UFC 300 really represents the UFC's final opportunity to strike before that iron goes cold. Now, McGregor himself recently hinted at a potential return in a now-deleted tweet, surprise, surprise, where he tweeted a photo of the construction of a new training complex with an octagon inside and then captioned the post with the words, "Camp Champion." However, true to his classic manner, he then deleted that tweet. So, as we already know, he is currently on a 2-fight losing streak, but his 2 previous losses are easily justifiable in the eyes of many fans. Many were arguing that his first loss was due to an accidental injury, rather than Dustin Poirier's superiority as a fighter, and according to fans, he had dominated the striking exchanges until the kicks began to take effect. So, if his fights with Michael Chandler do happen, and he also loses to Chandler, as you can imagine, his reputation will take a significant hit. This would result in him being on a 3-fight losing streak following a serious injury, and by that time he would already be 36. So ultimately, whether McGregor headlines UFC 300 or not, his legacy in the sport is already well established. If he chooses to continue competing and performs well in his upcoming fights, there is still a chance that he could headline major events in the future. Because, well, it's Conor McGregor. But what are your thoughts on all of this? Please leave them down in the comments below, and that is all for today. Again, if you liked the video, don't forget to like and subscribe to the channel, for which we do thank you in advance.